Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Irish Hills of Michigan. It's Murph. It is Andrew Wood, and we are here to bring you the Area 51 IndyCar Series live from the Michigan Speedway. Andrew, it's the third race of the year. We've had two fun ones. What do we have in store for the fans tonight?
That's a great question, Murph. Glad to be here with you tonight. Yeah, I've definitely called this race for Area 51 in the past, and we've seen a whole multitude of different races here. We've had the fuel save races, we've had the four wide racing, we've had a whole bunch of different outputs and scenarios that have gone on in this race for the last few seasons that we've raced here. Not really sure what's in store for tonight, but I'm excited to see what these guys have in store here. We got 120 laps. It's possible these drivers could do 3 stops if they really save the fuel, so I think we'll see that to start, but we always know that caution is looming and lurking, so we'll have to see what's in store for this evening.
Most certainly do want to thank everybody joining us from the Indy Fixed Oval Series. They raced at 7:15. A lot of you stuck around for the Indy Next Oval Series from New Hampshire. Jacob Collins just got done with that one, and we are here to bring you the Area 51 Series as the nightcap. We've had three races this year, 3 different winners. Ryan Kelly leads the points. He sits at 127. Craig Forsyth just 4 points back on 123, and Kyle Clinworth is at 110. Those are the 3 race winners as we head for round 4. You mentioned, Andrew, that you're liable to get just about anything here at Michigan. Qualifying is one thing here that doesn't really matter. We're going to jump on board with AJ Hobson just to kind of show the fans the lap. But truthfully, Andrew, it doesn't really matter how you qualify here, does it?
Not at all. You can start at the back. You can restart at the back on any of these cautions and really make your way forward, because I would say about 40% of the drivers are full push and 60% of the drivers are fuel saving at any given time. So if you find yourself sitting outside the top 20 and you want to make the move, it's not going to be very difficult to make that move. These drivers are going to do anything they can to stay out of trouble. Really, these big, large ovals, this one and Auto Club Speedway, that we also visit often here on the sim and in this league. Those races are basically just, if you have the run, take it, and you'll get it back if you want. So there's no need to really put any sort of blocks or do anything a little bit crazy here that will prevent the forward push of any driver that wants to go forward. So I think initially, maybe if some drivers are a little unhappy with their qualifying, we'll see some movers and shakers mid-pack or so. But I would imagine that a lot of the front runners just kind of want to wait and see what happens with those drivers that want to move forward. So I think that it does lead to a very interesting scenario every time we're here at Michigan. Plus, the IR18s are a little bit sketchy on the low line based on how the track is banked, especially on the front straightaway. So I think it's a matter of just preserving the car, preserving your tires, and preserving the aero, and watching how that affects its way through a whole stint.
I'll tell you what else you're going to want to watch. Andrew, is your temper. These races can get very long, very demanding. Right on board with Chris Stouffer now in the 40 Racewear machine. I'd be willing to bet that this is going to be a hot one. You see him coming through there on the high line. This is his coming to speed lap. Really a throwaway lap 1 here in qualifying at Michigan, because you want all the speed, all the momentum for lap 2, and Stouffer is going to run. He's going to fade out just a little bit down in the lane 2, and you want to keep this baby as tight as you can to the bottom of the speedway, Andrew.
Yes, and I'm watching actually the weather forecast here. You're right, it is a hot one here today. It's about 100 and I'm in Celsius, so I broke the rules. So it's about 110, 115 on the track. So it's not too hot, but it definitely will change as the race goes on. And we have a little bit of a northwesterly wind, so I think it's going to give a lot of tailwind down the way, and then more aerodynamics in play in the corners there. So I think that if it stays that way, it'll probably be very predictable, but also if it does change a little bit more in the race, then these drivers will have to also fare with the weather conditions as well.
There you go. I'll tell you what we've got. We've got a big entry list, 27 cars here for this one, Andrew, and we've also got ourselves a grid. On the pole, it's with a lap of 220.848 miles an hour. Mason Mitchum for the Velocity Racing League. To his outside, also from the Velocity Racing League team, it's Shane Coker. Jim Herrick is going to start third. He'll line up next to teammate Richie Hearn in fourth. Christopher fifth, Craig Forsyth sixth. So the 40 Racewear team definitely all had the same qualifying setup. They lock out rows 2 and 3. Matty Wagner, Kyle Clinworth, they're going to start 7th and 8th. Jeff Heisong, AJ Hobson make up row number 5. Starting 11th, it's Eric Peterson. 12th, Nicholas Stockner, Sam Costner 13th. Ryan Kelly 14th. Larry Yingling will roll from 15th. Charles T, Gary Lovern, Wayne Campbell, Bill Burrell, and Brian Greenlee will round out your top 20. In 21st, it's Charles Johnson. After him, these cars did not set a time. Joseph Morales, Peter Reniger, Kyle Brooks, Kurt Rose, Bill Colley, and James Molyneux. But as you said earlier, Andrew, it does not matter if you set a time in qualifying or not.
I'm actually I'm looking through this grid right now, and I'm keeping an eye on Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly started towards the back mid spots in the first 12 laps or so. So I think that Ryan Kelly is definitely going to be wanting to move forward. There's a little bit of breaking news and drama here on the grid, Mark. It looks like Mason Mitchum, our pole sitter, has dropped from the session. So this is going to be a little bit of a disjointed start here. So let's watch and make sure everyone gets started quite well here.
Yeah, he's going to have, the field's rolling away, so he's going to have to start it from the pit lane if he gets back in. Mason Mitchum, the pole sitter, already dramas. We get back on, onto the racing surface. That's just going to mean that Jim Herrick is going to move up and assume the pole. And how about that for the 40 Racewear, King? He gets to start this race from the pole position with the absence of Mitchum, and Mitchum needs to hurry. It is a long caution lap here, Andrew, but he needs to hurry and get back in the session, or he's going to be a lap down right at the start.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting. You bring up, Mark. No one wants to start second place in these races because you have to start next to the leader, and you're trying to get that right prediction, that right jump and everything. And then look at Jim Herrick just relegates himself directly to the pole here. I'm not sure if he's going to actually take the pole or if he may leave the spot open. I imagine that he might just take it, but there could be a possibility that they're leaving the empty spot on the grid, which we see in some of these professional series as well. But they're letting the pace car go right now, and they're getting themselves ready to get started here. So I suppose Mason Mitchum being second place will be the car to go. Hope it doesn't confuse the rest of the drivers behind.
Yeah, we hope not. We hoped not. So we do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, and if you're in the market for new sim racing gloves, shoes, hats, whatever you got, make sure you visit 40 Racewear. The 120 laps here at Michigan is on, and away we go. The field gets pretty strung out on the start there, Andrew.
Yeah, there definitely was that confusion that I was just mentioning between Shane Coker and Jim Herrick there, but it all seems to work out. And again, like you said, that it'll change within half a lap. As you see, we're going 3 wide into turn 3. The cold tires will affect these drivers, so hope everyone is watching out for that as well.
I'll tell you who the cold tires didn't affect. It was Christopher. He bolts from his 4th place starting spot into the lead. He's going to go under Shane Coker. And really, the plan here, if you want to say it, Andrew, is you're gonna want to establish yourself in the top 2, and you're gonna want to swap back and forth here.
Yeah, I'm actually watching Jim Herrick there on the second lap, and he's putting himself right down on that apron, which we were talking about in the pre-race there, that there is that little bit of extra banking there on the bottom, which could unsettle the car. And if we're watching any drivers that go through the exit of turn 2 and possibly the exit of turn 4 as well, if you're putting yourself down on that lower line, that could spell trouble if you're not really set up for it properly. And let's just hope that everyone, you see everyone's kind of keeping off that. They're like a lane and a half up from the bottom there, so that's good enough. But if you're trying to keep yourself on the white line all the way around the corner there, that could spell trouble if you keep yourself planted there all the way through the exit of 2 and the exit of 4.
Well, how about Jim Herrick? We're going to jump on board with him. He is the meat in the sandwich. He's got Nicholas Stockner, Sam Cosner, Craig Forsyth all the way around him. You're riding on board. Herrick has moved it up to the high side. He's going to challenge Shane Coker for the he's going to challenge Shane Coker. That's for the 5th spot. The front 4 are basically in a diamond, Andrew. Christopher maintains the lead. Now Matt Wagner goes to second. Wagner's going to duck out going down into turn 3. And this is going to be like this all night long, fans. This is what you're going to see from this field from the drop of the green flag until we finish. They're going to be stacked on top of each other just like this.
Look at Ryan Kelly there on the bottom of the front straightaway, passing 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 cars. Everyone goes to the middle and the high side. Kelly keeps his car right on the bottom there, and he's not wasting any time to pick up those spots, just like he did last week in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Ryan Kelly, remember, Ryan Kelly started this race in the middle of the pack. He was 14th. He is the series points leader, and there's Ryan Kelly in the 013, that zebra-looking chrome-painted machine. He dives under Jim Herrick. Herrick will maintain the momentum on the top. Kelly, he's got a lot of energy, Andrew, but he doesn't have anywhere to go with it.
You look at how these cars are basically orienting themselves all around the track here, and this is one of those moments where you just say, I just got to put my car somewhere where it's safe. You're not trying to necessarily pass someone. You're not trying to really hold up a little bit. You're just trying to put yourself in a spot where you can make it through the corner and not push up into somebody, go a little bit too deep on somebody. Everyone's trying to just maintain right now. So we were talking about that fuel safe situation earlier on in the broadcast here, and I don't see any real fuel saving going on from any handful of drivers or so. There are definitely some movers and shakers, but you can't put yourself down too far in the field because then you're going to place yourself in a worse position later. So you have to save fuel for a little bit, but if you start dropping 5 or 6 spots, then it's really time to pick it back up again and just maintain and maybe pick up some spots here and there, as it's like a cycle of drivers trying to save and then trying to go and then trying to save and then trying to go. And that's what I see is happening right now. No one's really trying to cement themselves into the lead.
No, and this is one of those races where you almost, at this stage, don't want to be leading. You're going to see guys, Craig Forsyth is one who's notorious for it. Craig has dropped back to the 14th spot, and that is by design. Craig is back there rolling around. He's probably turned the fuel all the way back to full lean, letting the draft pull him along, and he's saying, look, you boys go ahead and lead it. Craig's goal is to make it to lap 30 or further, right? Because if you stop before lap 30, you are going to add a pit stop for a dash of fuel at the end. You need to make it past that, Andrew. And if you're Craig Forsyth, if you can make it to lap 31, 32, 33, that's less fuel you got to take at the end. It also means you can go full tilt burn sooner than your opposition, and that's a huge advantage too.
I'm starting to look at these drivers on the high side. They're all in fuel save mode. Richie Hearn, Craig Forsyth, Jim Herrick, Brian Greenlee. All these drivers are just kind of coasting their way towards, especially turn 1 in particular. That's where all the momentum on the bottom is moving for those drivers that aren't saving the fuel. You can see all these cars on the high side from Richie Hearn on back are just maintaining. They're not trying to pass. They're just slowly lifting off the throttle on the entry of the corner, coming back halfway through it so they can catch the drafts, and they're going to keep going. Whereas you look at the top 5 right now, and they're kind of darting left and right across the track, just trying to find a place to put their car that's safe.
Yeah, and look, James Malinon, Charles Teed, Charles Johnson, A.J. Hobson, Sam Cosner, those cars have decided, look, we want to get up here and try to lead this baby. We're not going to be concerned with fuel. There's Charlie Teed. He drops down to the bottom. Charles Teed, of course, is in the Robbie Gordon liveried machine from the Dan Gurney Eagle days when Robbie Gordon raced that car. And look, I got to say it, Charles Teed is one of those. He's a Charger. he's going to go to the front, and he's not going to concern himself necessarily with the fuel. He figures, look, there's probably going to be a caution somewhere along the way, and all that fuel saving is going to go for naught. So at this early stage, he feels more comfortable leading. James Molyneux and Charles Johnson are of the same persuasion, Andrew. They want to get to the front. That's where they feel they're safest, but they're going 4 wide for it. Nicholas Stockner takes the lead. What a move.
Yeah, you could definitely see, especially when you're sitting in the car, which drivers are the ones that want to be on the move and which ones want to stay still. It takes a little bit to shake that out. It's almost like kind of shaking like a dry rub, and all like the heavier pieces go towards the bottom and all the lighter pieces stay towards the top. We're trying to shake the field right now, and all the drivers that are trying to save the fuel are going to slowly fall back a little bit, and all the drivers that want to stay in the top of the mix there, they're going to go to the front. So Nicholas Stockner, Charles T, those drivers, like you said, they have no interest in saving fuel, but the more drivers that you have that stay up front that do that, they're going to pull the whole field along with them along the way. So yeah, you'll be able to save fuel if you're 8th, 9th, 10th or so, but if you're desperately outside the top 10 trying to stay and save the fuel, that's when you're going to need to really try and say, okay, I'm going to turn the fuel mix up for a couple laps, pick up a spot here and there, and make sure I don't lose the pack.
There was a driver that is not interested usually in saving fuel. We were riding on board with Chris Stouffer. They go 4 wide in front of him, and this is I mentioned it to one of my colleagues at work today. He asked me what this was like. It's almost like playing chess at 220 miles an hour. Everything is predicated on getting yourself to the front of the line with about 5 laps to go, and then that's when the magic happens. We saw a barn burner of a race today in the IndyCar fixed oval top split. Kyle Clinworth was the winner. Yours truly had his wheels shut off and unfortunately collected one of my teammates, so we'll have to work on that. But really, it really is, Andrew. It's all predicated on getting yourself to the front line with 5 to go.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Kyle Clemworth because he started from the pits, I just noticed, and Mason Mitchum has gotten back in the session. They are all the way at the back in 26th and 27th right now in swap drafting. So they were, Mason Mitchum had to get back in the session, but Clemworth was actually wondering if there would be any chaos at the start and try to avoid it. But now he's just put himself in a spot where he's on full burn leaving the pits. So if anyone's going to be pitting early, it's going to be Kyle Clemworth and probably Mason Mitchum as well. So yeah, you see them all the way at the back there. And initially when I saw them back there, I was wondering if that was just a play to stay out of the draft, kind of like you see at the Daytona 500. The drivers fall all the way to 30th, 35th place and everything. But no, these drivers that started from the pits, and they have no choice but to be on the full. They're only about between turn 1 and turn 2 away from catching the pack, which just shows how much fuel is being saved in the pack.
Well, and that could have been by design. We're going to go back up to the front of the field here. That could have been by design, Andrew. Those two are not teammates, but I'll tell you what they are is Kyle Clinworth. If you look back at the Clinworth machine,
Do that.
If you look back at the Clinworth machine, Andrew, it is you'll see the Votive Racing League livery on that car. That is a sponsor of Clinworth's. Mitchum is on the Votive Racing League team, and so associations are what they are, Andrew. I would bet you a shiny new dime that Clindy dropped back to help Mitchum get himself back to the pack, and now that they have caught the pack, I'd be willing to say all bets are off. You're going to see those two charge to the front. As you said, they've already abandoned the fuel save by having to swap it in that way.
While we were talking about the drivers at the back, Murph, Charles Johnson had a spin off of turn 2, almost collected the wall on the inside from the lead, managed to stay off the wall and rejoin the pack there. That was an insane save.
Yeah, let's see if we can go back and get it here. Charles Johnson. Yep, there he is.
It was 2 laps ago.
Yeah, there he is. And that'll happen at Michigan. That's a symptom. He doesn't hit anything, but that is a symptom of too much weight jacker. As you know, Andrew, Michigan, it can be very sensitive to overheating the right rear. And what happens when you get deep into a run, the tank gets light, you got too much weight jacker in it over there, the car will actually want to turn loose coming off of turn 2. And that's exactly what happened with Charles Johnson. We're 21 laps into this, which means we're within 5 or 6 laps of pit stops if these guys are going full tilt.
And Charles Johnson's already back in that pack again and trying to move his way forward. He's up into the top 20, and he's split in the middle there, going down the back straightaway, and I think he wants to get back towards the front again. So nothing has really phased Charles Johnson. He's lost nothing, except some tire life perhaps. But if we're getting close to pit stops anyway, why not put yourself in a really good spot that you feel like you can have a good pit stop, get some fresh rubber on there, and move forward.
Yeah, and look, Charles Johnson, he went from the lead back to 25th, and now he's within 5 laps. He's charged his way back up to 12th. We're watching him. He's going to pull to the outside of Matt Wagner, up underneath the rear wing of Jim Herrick, slice to the bottom. Charles Johnson's coming to the front. Now he's sideways. Charles Johnson, we just jumped on board. He lost the car in turn number 4. Big crash. Car's airborne. That's Bill Colley. Caution is on the Michigan Speedway. 22 laps into the race. And there's Johnson. He's racing with Matty Wagner. Does it look like to you there was contact there?
That's a tough one. Let's take a look at it again there, Murph.
We're going to get in the P1 airship, and we'll see what we can see. We're looking at Charles Johnson. He is the white and blue car. Matt Wagner on the bottom in all black with the yellow fin. They kind of got together over there, Andrew, and into the wall goes Charles Johnson. Nowhere to go. We're going to see one car clip him there, and then Bill Colley launches over the back of Peter Reniger, and both of those cars severely damaged. Kurt Rose was the other machine who was collected in that, and that is 4 meatballs and 4 days that are not necessarily done, but they're going to be at a severe deficit. Meanwhile, the rest of the field, led by A.J. Hobson, comes to the pit lane, and we are going to have our first pit stops of the day, Andrew.
Yeah, everyone comes in except Shane Coker stays out and James Molyneux stay out. They probably just want to lead a lap and go to the back of the field because everyone's got a pit now. It'd be silly to stay out and do any sort of off-strategy moment, but this is going to make the fuel save even more important because we were talking about the 30 laps per stint to do it on 3 stops, and now you're knocking 6 laps off altogether, so it's going to have to be 32 the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult fuel save. This caution is going to help you somewhat. We're watching the race off of pit road. Now, you do get a fast repair in this league. Kurt Rose has already affected his. He'll stay on the lead lap. But Johnson, Reniger, and Bill Colley, those cars, they've got the meatball, and they are still under tow, and so do want to point that out. They're at least going to be 2 laps down. Now, it's not impossible. You get a fast repair, you get a lucky dog, you get yourself back up there. But Andrew, that's putting yourself behind the 8 ball early. All of those cars have now got their fast repair, so they're going to be coming out. Bill Colley is going to be 1 down. Matt Wagner is on pit road under extended repair, 51 seconds. He did not take the fast repair. And we are going to see Coker and Molyneux, I'd bet you, Andrew, dive down pit lane this next time through. They're already on the inside there.
Well, the good thing about having the meatball under a caution is that, yeah, there is a little bit of a tow time to get your car back to the pit lane and begin repairs, but at least it's under caution, and you could maybe keep yourself maybe 1 lap down, which doesn't hurt since we have the lucky dog in this series. If it was under green flag and perhaps a caution didn't come out when your car got damaged, then you may go down a little bit more. But I don't think that these drivers are necessarily out of it yet. They're just going to have to hope for a caution at some point to get them back in this race and have the lucky dog scenario pull out.
Absolutely. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be aware of all of our high-quality iRacing action, you're watching the Area 51 Series presented by 4D Racewear. Jim Herrick, of course, is the proprietor of that fine company. I have his shoes. I have a set of gloves. Great guy, great company. If you're in the market for some sim racing shoes, look it up, 4dracewear.com. Andrew, this is going to be interesting because if you thought that the cars were standing on the brakes, trying to not lead and stretch the fuel, this makes it very, very difficult. 32 laps a shot. Now you got a little bit of help with the caution flag here, but to me, this is almost where the racing becomes more dangerous than it was before.
Well, the first step is to just get out of the restart with a nice, healthy gap to the cars that are ahead of you. Everyone should just kind of accelerate when the car ahead of them goes, which is how this works. And it looks like we actually are set up for a nice restart. There's a little bit of a hesitation back outside the top 10 there. I think that's Brian Green. They had a rough restart, but these cars will be together before long, so a rough restart doesn't necessarily hurt you too much.
No, it most certainly doesn't. If you get a bad restart here, as long as you're within 1.8 seconds of the car in front, you are going to catch them with the draft, and you're going to catch them in a hurry. Do have AJ Hobson as your leader. He bolts from the lead. He keeps it. Nicholas Stockner is going to go to his outside, and Ryan Kelly is going to try to pass them both on the high side going into turn one, Andrew.
Looks like Stockner is kind of holding it on the bottom there. That's a really, really great move to take the lead there. But I think the 2x2 is about to start again. I wonder if there's any drivers that are really going to try to push it to save that fuel for the next stop, or if it's really just going to be let's go racing here and push this pace up a little bit. Well,
I'll tell you who's at a disadvantage when it comes to that. It's the front seven are all right together. Chris Stouffer and Charles Teed, they look like they're flying formation, almost four wide going into turn one. They have the advantage. The cars that are strung out behind them, though, and I'm thinking about Bill Burrell, Jim Herrick, they've now caught this group, but they had to spend a bunch of fuel to do it. You get back to, there's Larry Yingling in 10th, Craig Forsyth in 11th, Jess Heisong in 12th. Those cars are all now with this lead draft. But Shane Coker got a poor restart, and Shane Coker is 3.4 seconds behind the cars in front. So this second group from 14th on back, Andrew, they have lost the draft.
They definitely have, and I'm actually trying to watch what the pace is up front. Last stint, these front drivers were doing low to mid 33 second laps. The whole entire pack right now seems to be in the 32s.
Yes, they are. They are not.
So that's why.
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that I think the fuel save is aborted at this time. That may change later on, especially if drivers get a little more comfortable with where they want to be and they just want to stay where they are. But as long as everyone is driving at full tilt like this, these lap times of the high 32s is going to mean that no one is saving fuel right now.
No, they most certainly aren't. Fastest lap of the race, incidentally, belongs to Kyle Clinworth. He is the only car that has cracked the 31-second bracket. Clindy did a lap at 31.927 as he was trying to catch the field. The problem is for Clindy, he's back in that second pack. He's running 15th. The battle for the lead continues to be three wide here. This second group,
Coker is missing a piece of his wing. I just noticed Shane Coker is. I'm not sure where that happened, but he is falling back a little bit.
Yeah, so here's that second group. Shane Coker was leading it, and there is the votive racing machine, and he most certainly is missing his left front wing. And so you can make it around Michigan here like that, but you're not going to be very fast, and you're not going to be able to stay in the draft. So Shane Coker, he needs a caution in the worst way. Other cars that are probably looking for a caution, James Molyneux, Matt Wagner, Kyle Clinworth, what they're doing here is they're trying to affect the swap. In other words, they're essentially swapping back and forth. They're using each other's draft in a coordinated manner to slingshot each other back toward the front. They're making good time, Andrew. They're catching this front group. What was 3.5 seconds is now 3.2, but that is a long, tough, slow slog when you're trying to do that.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting. The front pack you see is very organized. They're all kind of watching after each other, but this second pack where you find Clemworth and Greenlee, Molyneux, all these drivers, just watch how their lines are and their behavior is. The cars are darting everywhere. They're trying to really cement a couple of people to be the ones that want to swap draft, but I don't think anybody wants to just sit in this pack right now. So the behavior from the two packs is actually very, very stout, just of how the behavior of the drive's going. And if a caution were to happen, I think it's going to happen from the second group as they try and sort themselves out.
Yeah, they can't decide who wants to lead and who wants to be the swapper and the swappee, and they keep racing each other. That's the worst thing they could do. Whoa, Clinworth nearly contact with Brian Greenlee there, and I think Clindy just said, "Look, if you guys are going to race back here, I'm done. I'm going to get out of it." James Molyneux and Jeff Hysong, or excuse me, James Molyneux and Charles Johnson are swapping, and now Clindy and Wagner get in on the gang. They keep racing like this, though. They're not going to make any headway toward that front back. They've still got about 2.6 seconds to go, Andrew.
Well, it's definitely exciting to watch. You just don't know which car is going to dart from 5 cars back to take that lead to try and lead the pack. And again, it's dangerous, but as long as everyone knows where each other is, that it's no problem. But I would say that if there's a chance for any caution to happen, it's going to happen in this second pack here as they get a little bit stacked up again at turn 4.
Well, and as you know, Andrew, there is an art to swap drafting like this. You really need 2 experienced guys to do it. And I would wonder if Clindy or Matty Wagner hadn't been on the radio in here saying, "Look, we need to get organized and get a swap going up front so that we can catch this group."
It doesn't look like they're losing too much time, though, Murph. They're losing some time indeed, as if they had been swap drafting from the drop of the green flag. They would have been a lot closer, but they are only about 2.5 seconds back from that upper group there. And I think the upper group has started to save fuel a little bit, as it looks like they are dropping back and starting to spread out a little bit, and their lap times are dipping into those mid-33s. So there was a little bit of action early, but that whole entire pack, as they get more single file, will start to spread backwards. And that will bring that whole pack in the second group to come forward. But that whole second group, because they were trying to figure out exactly what to do, that's going to show that they burned a lot more fuel. So anything that they would want to do for a fuel save is out the window now. But I think just based on how we restarted and how many laps to go, I think that it's not really a fuel save race from here unless you do it the entire way, starting from when the green flag dropped.
And that's a great point. They are now 2 seconds back. Brian Greenlee shoots to the front of that pack. Matty Wagner is going to slingshot past him. Clindy is going to slingshot past Wagner. And that's almost how you have to do it. Get the third car to build a huge run, shoot way out there, get reorganized. Clindy chopped off 0.2 of a second just with that one move, and he is on the edge of being in that draft. One more swap, and they should have it. Andrew. 1.85 now, 1.843, and it's closing. Clindy is just about back into the draft, but that's what 1.8 seconds looks like here at Michigan.
Oh, sorry for the silence there. I was just watching to see what happened with those drivers out of turn 3 there. Everyone seems to have managed to get through it, but I was nervous that we were going to see another caution there. But yeah, they're definitely getting up to that pack now, so they should be right in that draft now, and that's going to pull everyone from 13th on back up towards that front pack again. So good job by that group to finally get themselves sorted. From here, I don't know if these guys want to just go all the way to the front or if they want to just say, okay, we're in the draft, we're within striking distance of that front group. Now let's see if I could do something on the pit stop. Maybe get in and out of the pits a little bit quicker than that whole entire front group. Another unique thing about Michigan, we talk about this all the time here, is that if you pit early, you will come out on your outlap back in that pack again, and you can use that opportunity to draft your way forward and possibly get a little bit more advantage for when the rest of the field pits. So we'll have to look out for that as well.
Yeah,
getting to about 20 more laps until everyone pits.
Most certainly so. If you watch the earlier broadcast, we're on the gearbox of Jeff Hysong, and that is Kyle Clinworth, and so they have caught this pack, and Clindy immediately goes to work. He drops below Yingling, below Herrick, and he is going to try to draft to the front. I have a feeling that second group, they've already burned the fuel anyway. You might as well, Andrew Wood, you might as well go to the front now. There's no reason for you to save fuel if you were in that second pack.
Yes, I'm trying to just remember who was in that front pack so we can measure after the next pit stop rotation how everyone pans out. But yeah, this second group is wasting no time. They're already kind of feeling that killer bee momentum. I was trying to use another hornet's nest analogy there. They have that killer bee momentum right now where they're just going fight. I got to go all the way to the front of that pack, and they're not wasting any time trying to sift their way through all these drivers that are fuel saving. And if these drivers were in a fuel save mode already, they're going to definitely go into something now, especially as a handful of cars go by them.
Well, and it's differing agendas, right? So you look back in that pack, you got Craig Forsyth back there. I can guarantee you that Forsyth is saving fuel. I can also guarantee you, based on, whoa, we got a car sideways, that's Brian Greenlee, yellow light is on, and that changes everything one more time. The fuel save.
I believe that might have been Charles Johnson again there. I was watching that kind of happening. It looked like the I think that was just an unfortunate coming together moment. I don't think anyone was really at fault. The track just sort of drops off there.
So the car that went shooting sideways was Brian Greenlee, and you're going to see him come off of turn 2 here, and he is going to just come out of this pack like he is shot out of a cannon, Andrew. There he is. He's underneath Burrell and Charles Johnson. He's behind Clinworth, and I don't know if there was contact. There's Stouffer, so Johnson in the middle, Greenlee on the bottom, and yeah, just a little bit of a hip check there from Charles Johnson, the lightest bit of contact, and around goes Brian Greenlee. The good news for Greenlee, he didn't hit anything, Andrew, so he gets to rejoin the line, and he'll be able to come in, fit some new Firestones, and he will absolutely be able to rejoin the race. Sam Cosner in the Votive Racing League machine is your leader, and we will return after these messages from 4D Racewear.
Strap in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that I play. When I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win. I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning. Stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says get it. From the couch to the checkered, I'm the storm when I wear it. 4D in my veins.
Welcome back to the Michigan Speedway. It's Mark Murphy, Andrew Wood. You're watching the Area 51 IndyCar Series live here on P1. We do want to thank everybody in the audience. It's another big one. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you get a notification every time we do this. And we've got something coming pretty much every night of the week now. Once the AMA Stock Car Series starts, the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series and the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series, once those start going Thursday and Friday, Andrew, we're going to have at least one broadcast every night. How about that?
That's incredible for this channel, and I'm really, really happy to see that we're expanding into some other not denominations, other other motorsport types than the open wheels, which is kind of where we got our bread and butter
start
going here.
Yeah, that's where we got our start. But it's nice. It's nice to be able to do the stock car stuff too. Caleb Brashear is going to join me on Thursday nights for the Grand National Series, and that's going to be absolutely incredible. And I think you might pop in sometimes on Fridays. We're going to have a rotating cast, I think, on Friday nights if we can't locate a color guy. So, but that's a fun series. That series run by Kendall Paul is one of those that it's only 3 or 4 years old, but the growth that it's seen in those 3 or 4 years, Andrew, has been tremendous. And so, they've got some great guys over there. They've got a couple of Coke drivers signed up to run that series. It's coming along fairly well. Sam Cosner is coming back toward the start finish line, and he is going to get the green flag here. Barney has it out. You see him laying way back from the pace car there, Andrew. That's interesting, and that's kind of how the pack got how the pack kind of got split apart in the first time. There was a huge checkup, and they all got split apart. This time it's a little bit more organized. I don't see
sketchy around 8th place or so. I think that was Ryan Kelly might have gotten a little bit of an accordion effect there, but I think it should be fine. I think everyone's kind of maintaining their spots and able to stay in that draft going forward. I don't think we're going to have that big 2-pack situation now. Everyone's kind of, as long as they stay in a single file line, they should basically get that speed going back onto the front straightaway next time around to catch back up again. So,
yeah.
Up by everyone.
Yeah, this is one of those deals. Unless you break that window, that 1.8 second draft envelope, there's not going to be a situation, Andrew, where you can pull away. The cars will eventually accordion right back on top of each other, and it's one of those situations where you can't really get away. And so it'll take them a lap or two, but they'll eventually all be right on top of each other. The other thing, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, is that caution has ended the fuel strategy race. Everybody pulled in on 47. There's no way to make that math to make it home with a fuel save, is there?
No, but I think just in general how these drivers like to approach these large oval races, it is very easy to just put yourself in a fuel safe situation no matter how you drive the track. You don't want to really push the car too much. Plus, it really saves your tires as well. If you're not driving on the strongest fuel mix possible and just throwing your car into each side of this racetrack here, that will save your tires too. So there will be a little bit of a fuel save situation going on. If anything, that may slow the time needed on the last pit stop. But I imagine we're going to see these drivers get a little bit more rambunctious, especially if they're trying to go for the lead. But there's no real need to go for the lead if you know you're just going to be passed just that much more easily on the next time around.
Yeah, and something else I kind of wanted to touch on just a moment, Andrew. There still is a reason to fuel save here, not because you're going to cut a stop, but because it's less time in pit lane at the end, right? Your last one, you can make that stop shorter. You can take less fuel. It's easier on the tires. So there's still a reason to save where and when you can. But I can tell you now, the guys at the front of this deal are not saving one drop. They're going for it. Ryan Kelly, the points leader, has gone to the lead. They're 3 wide behind him.
4 wide, actually, at certain points. But I'm watching Ryan Kelly's line, and just be very, very careful when you're on that first lane, because it'll work for a little bit, especially on fresh tires. But once that right rear starts to cook a little bit, hanging on that yellow line all the way through turn 2, that car will turn on you. And we've seen it. We saw it in the Classic IndyCar Series race here at Michigan last Sunday, 2 days ago. And we've also seen it in Area 51 multiple times. So you do want to just race that yellow line to keep your position, but you have to be very careful of what in-car tools you're using so you don't spin the car on the exit. Because once you spin the car, then you don't lose 1 spot, you lose 20 spots.
Most certainly so. You mentioned cooking the tires. How about the weather? It has started to cool off here a little bit in the sim at Michigan. 78 in the air. The track is down to 98 degrees, and so you're seeing the track temperature come down, and that's going to help that tire life. It's going to help the handling on these cars. But I tell you what, it's also going to do. It's also going to make this pack a lot tighter, because as the temperature goes down, the tools that you use, the anti-roll bars, front and rear, the weight jacker, those things become less and less important, as you know, Andrew. And that just invites more cars to the party, doesn't it?
Most certainly does. And I mean, we were watching these drivers in the last stint.
Whoa, we got cars
in there.
Yeah, we got cars in the wall. I believe Craig Forsyth clipped it. Charles Teed was involved. Matt Wagner involved. Everybody kept it going.
Teed is... I think Teed might be damaged.
Whoa, we got a car hard in the wall. It's Gary Lovern. Caution. Charles Teed is around, and we finally get the caution. Gary Lovern went for a wild ride through turns 3 and 4, was airborne, Andrew, for a moment or two, and that all started with Charles Teed.
Watch Charles Teed after his contact with Forsyth and how he enters turn 3. There's definite damage there if we want to watch that replay.
Yeah, so we're going to go all the way back. So this is where this starts. It's going to start off at turn 2 with Charles Teed. He's got Richie Hearn above him. He's got Richie Hearn above him and A.J. Hobson below him. Here we go. Off of 2, Teed... And I believe, okay, so Hobson and Hearn make contact. Teed moves to avoid it. Forsyth clips the wall. Hobson is now wingless. Wagner takes evasive action down to the apron. And now let's keep watching Charles Teed as he sails off into turns 3 and 4. He's damaged. He doesn't know it. Car's loose. And he's just, at this point, Andrew, he's trying to get it to pit lane.
Yeah, but when you have a whole bunch more cars that are coming, it's so hard to just say, okay, I'm going to keep my car straight, keep my car safe, and somehow avoid all the rest of the rushing cars that are coming from behind. So I think he did everything he possibly could there to get himself in a safe spot, but there was just nowhere for him to be on the safe trajectory against pit lane.
No, and that's absolutely true. And then poor Gary Lovern, here's what he sees. He comes through turn 3. He sees Forsyth high. He doesn't understand yet that the Teed car is damaged, and now he does. He's going to try to slip high, but Teed really doesn't have full control, and up and over Gary Lovern goes. He'll have himself a meatball in addition to the one acquired for Charles Teed. Teed has already made it to the pit lane and affected his fast repair. Lovern is under tow. He will lose at least 1 lap by the time he gets there. The good news for him, he'll be the only car 1 lap down. With that, Kurt Rose has taken the lead here, Andrew.
Do you see that Charles Johnson is somehow missing a winglet from right behind the pace car? Am I seeing this right?
I do, but he doesn't. He wants to get the wave around so that he can come back in and fix that. You can get the wave around pit, come back out, and be okay here. But he was a lap down. So, Andrew, that's why he's not wanting to pit here.
I'm just trying to see where he lost that, because he wasn't near the Charles Teed incident. Ooh, actually, hold on a minute. There's A.J. Hobson also. Oh, okay. I believe A.J. Hobson also was missing a piece of his front wing. Yeah, so there was actually contact between Molyneux and Charles Johnson that made him lose a wing, but someone else lost a wing entering turn 3. This is all happening ahead of the whole Charles Teed incident. So we had 3 different car-to-car contacts all in one corner that only one resulted in a spin. I think it was Hobson that lost a piece of his wing. But yeah, 3 different people lost their front wings in the course of one corner, but only one resulted in the caution.
Most certainly so. We are under caution here at the Michigan Speedway, just about halfway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I found it. It was Richie Hearn. I think he got a little loose out of turn 2 and came across the front of AJ Hobson and took Hobson's right front winglet off, but it did reattach. So iRacing forgave him there, but a piece did go flying off of Hobson's car initially, which kind of made me nervous for a little bit there.
And I think it was that contact that triggered the evasive action from Teed, the contact with Forsyth, and then everything else that ensued. Looking at Richie Hearn here, his car appears to at least be put back together. So good news for Richie Hearn. Do want to point out that Shane Coker, after an eventful day, and there he is in the Votive Racing League machine, old Shane Coker's got himself back up in the top 20. He's got it. He's got that hot rod fixed. He's used his fast repair. He's ready to go another round here. Andrew, see if he can't get that thing back toward the front. He started on the outside pole.
Yeah, we're coming really, really slow to this green flag here, even slower than the last couple times. So Nicholas Stockner is leading us to the green flag, but we're going very, very slow here, Gary. I think this is just going to stack everyone up on the restart. Let's hope everyone gets going.
Stockner does go. We'll watch it from the grandstands. And
Joseph Morales, I think, was hit. There's another car missing a piece of a front wing. Yeah,
so Morales is good. Did Charles Johnson get his wing fixed? He did not. So that may be it. You're looking at Charles Johnson. He took the wave round, but didn't get his car fixed. Andrew.
Yeah, there may not have been time for him to get back into the pit lane again, but I imagine he's not going to stay out here very long. He's going to want to come in and get that front wing fixed. He's going to lose all the aerodynamics off that car, but I believe he did have contact with Joseph Morales coming back to the green flag again.
Now the situation could be for Charles Johnson rather. He may elect to stay out and gamble for another caution. Once he loses.
Clemmerth was hit. He's very slow on the track right now. I think Molyneux might have come underneath him and hit Clemmerth.
He's in the wall again. He's trying to save it. That car is broken though, Andrew, and he is just going to slam on the brakes now.
Caution.
And he gets destroyed, just absolutely hit hard by another car there. My goodness gracious. Caution is out, and let's see what's happened with Clindy. There's the contact from Molyneux. Molyneux just had an extreme closing rate on Clindy, and watch this incident. Bill Colley, Craig Forsyth, and Kyle Clinworth all with the meatball, and Forsyth is out of his car. 2 of the 3 championship contenders caught up in this one accident, Andrew.
That all happened so fast, Gary. I'm still trying to piece it all together.
Yeah, so there's the contact with Molyneux and Clinworth, and I think the
I'm unsure about the Forsyth situation.
Well, so we're going to figure that out here. There's Clindy, and he's got a broken rear suspension. He doesn't know it yet, so he's trying to sort this out. Here comes Craig. So he's going to get through. So here's Clindy, and he has no control over his car. And watch Bill Colley go through here. He sees Clindy spinning down to the bottom. Clinworth's car is broken. Colley tries to dodge low, and there's the contact there. So Bill Colley into Kyle Clinworth. He's going to get the meatball. But what has befallen Craig Forsyth? And that happened well after the incident, Andrew. Here's Forsyth So Forsyth got a blink. Craig may have had an equipment issue, Andrew, because his situation just completely glitched out. Um, and then he came back. He was backward in the middle of the track, and then Bill Colley hits it one more time. I got to think Craig Forsyth had some sort of a glitch with his equipment. Caution is on the racetrack. Nicholas Stockner leads it behind the pace car. Guile Brooks has a black flag, and we're going to see pit stops from more or less everybody but the top 5 here.
I believe the Guile black flag that was given on purpose. He gave himself an EOL. As Forsyth has left the server, I believe he is going to take over the live admin rights going forward here. So I think Guile is just going into the pit lane, and he's going to be the live admin to monitor all the black flag situations right now.
There you go. Those involved in the accident: Clinworth, Colley, and Forsyth. Forsyth, that almost appeared to be an equipment failure. Like I said, he disappeared and then reappeared in the wall, and that's indicative of some sort of a disconnection with the system, with the sim. I had one today in the top split race, Andrew, that I've never had before. My wheels shut off, which happens occasionally. Didn't do me any good. Didn't do Chad Simpson any good either. I'd like to apologize for that one more time. But poor Chad got collected in my mess. Apparently, there's a combination of buttons that you can hit on a Fanatec podium wheel, and I hit them and shut them off. So shut it off.
It's always difficult racing these virtual cars, Murph. It definitely it turns into a situation where you're trying to make sure you're hitting the right buttons and you don't turn the car off and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. So that just shows how much action these drivers go through for these entire races here.
It most certainly does, and you know it as well as me. These sim rigs that we use to do this, there are no two of them that are exactly alike. Between the PCs that are almost universally custom built to the monitor setups, the rigs themselves, the wheels, pedals, the different peripherals. There are no two that are alike, and they occasionally, stuff breaks, stuff fails, and it happens to everybody. It happened to Craig Forsyth here. It happened to me earlier. So, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, and we'll see Craig back if he can get it back. He's also in an area of the world that's experiencing some really wild weather, so that could be it too. Craig has re-entered the service, and we are very, very slow coming down the backstretch now. 55, 58 miles an hour. The pace car is gone from your picture. You don't even see it. Now, why would they do that, Andrew? Why would you slow down and let the pace car get a huge lead like that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Gary. That's not something I've ever seen before. I think it's just a matter of getting yourself at a good pace to get restarted again. And if you keep yourself at a moderate pace, say about 70, 80 miles per hour going around, and you're catching back up again, then you could possibly lead these cars into being in a much easier formation. That's exactly what we're seeing. Everyone's in a nice single file formation, pretty evenly spaced out from top to bottom here. So it's going to allow everyone to get that draft and get back up into that lead pack again. So I think that it does look a little strange on screen, but it's all done methodically in such a way that everyone gets themselves back into the race again.
There you go. I do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. We've got kind of a split strategy here for you at Michigan. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, go visit 40raceware.com, get yourself some sim racing gloves, hats, shoes, whatever tickles your fancy. They've got it for you, 40raceware.com. We're watching the battle for the lead here. Nicholas Stockner, AJ Hobson have it. You've got James Molyneux, Sam Cosner roughly lined up on row 2. And then old Lionheart foes, Richie Hearn, Eric Peterson, and Chris Stouffer are behind them. Brian Greenlee has entered that chat, as has Matt Wagner, I believe. Well, no, Wagner's the next pack back. There he is. You see him in the background. All of these cars within the draft envelope, and so Andrew, that begs the point. 23 cars still in it with a chip and a chair. Clindy is a lap down currently, so next yellow flag. Kyle Clinworth is going to be back on the lead lap. He is the only car one lap down. The battle for the lead, it continues to be fast and furious. Stouffer has it now over Stockner and Molyneux.
That second pack, that Jim Herrick might have had a little bit more of a rough restart than he would have wanted to have, but everyone's caught back up in that big group up front again. So I think we're going to see all the drivers back into this lead pack again. Everyone's going towards the bottom, and I'm still worried about the exit of turn 2 there. It hasn't happened yet, but it's putting themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation trying to hold that car down there, but these drivers are showing what it really takes to hold position and do what they can to not lose all those spots. I think everybody on the high side is going to go back into fuel save mode, and the drivers that are a little bit more further behind are going to try and pick up those spots where they can.
Well, the guys that were further behind have more fuel to burn. Stockner, Hobson, Peterson, Cosner, and Molyneux did not stop. You're right on board Richie Hearn. He did take the opportunity to fit new Firestone tires and fill it up with Sunoco Racing fuel. Is it Sunoco or Shell now? I can't ever remember. Whatever it is, he filled up on it, and Richie Hearn rides along in 9th, and that's his view. That's pretty wild, Andrew.
We're back in the 32s again, so everyone's going a little bit quicker than we would expect, but everyone did pit on lap 63. So I think that the fuel save is back in the picture again. If we could do perhaps 29 laps, and that's a very, very easy one to do for a fuel save mode. So I would imagine that before long, people are going to find a comfortable spot to sit in, and they're going to go back to fuel save mode again.
That would be my thought as well. Let's get sorted out. The guys at the front are going to do what guys at the front do. Speaking of guys at the front, Kyle Clinworth's trying to get his lap back the hard way. He doesn't want to wait on the lucky dog. He wants to go out there and lead it. Now, the smart move would be for everybody to tuck up behind Clindy and use him as the rabbit here. Just let him burn all his fuel off. And I'm not really sure why Clindy is all that racy. He's the only car one lap down. If it was me and I was him, Andrew Wood, I'd be hiding. I'd be 10 seconds off the pack, right?
Me too, Murph. Me too.
I would be a half a lap down on purpose, because if you get hit in some sort of a fracas, you lose the lucky dog, right? So, and Clindy, an open wheel guy, he may not know those rules, and think he's got to race his way back up there, but Clindy's kind of putting himself into peril here. Meanwhile, Richie Hearn goes for a spin.
That was a great save, but unfortunately he saved himself into the pit road, which means that he will have to go down the pit lane at the pit speed limit, and that's going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah, here he is. He comes off of turn number 4. The car snaps sideways. Richie does a great Formula D impression. He gets it saved on a pit road. Not only does he have to go pit road speed the whole way, Andrew Wood, he has a black flag drive-through for too fast entering on pit lane. Or actually, it's going to be a 40-second hold. So
you're just watching the behavior of these drivers up at the front of the pack, and you could definitely tell that everybody wants to lead right now. So I think the fuel save is not really a concern for a lot of drivers that are trying to grab that lead right now, but this pack is humongous right now. We got about 12 to 13 cars that are actually a little more than that. We got about 15, 16 cars that are all thrown under a blanket, as they like to say.
It's the whole field, Andrew, minus Richie Hearn. So 20. It's the whole field minus Richie Hearn. So 23 cars are in this pack. One of them has a shot to win it. Clindy swings way high toward the outside wall. I can't believe he's racing that hard, Andrew.
Well, we have Kyle Clemworth that could easily get his lap back the hard way that we were talking about before, especially if everybody's trying to do a little bit of a fuel save. It looks more like people are trying to really race for the lead, but there is a little bit of fuel saving going on, especially if you're sitting 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in that range right now, because all you got to do is just coast really into the corner and try and find your spot as you enter it. If you're on the high side, then you just maybe come down a little bit and get behind the cars that are ahead of you. But look at this. We literally have the top 10 sitting 3 by 3 by 3 and then on the outside.
Throw a blanket over them, Andrew. I mean, they are racing hard, and they're starting to get what I call darty. And when they start darting back and forth like that, Andrew, that's where I get nervous.
It's all about holding your line and figuring out where you want to put your car on the exit of the corner, in particular, because we saw what happened with Charles Johnson and Brian Greenlee before. If you just come up a little bit on the track, there's suddenly a car there, and you really can't do anything about it. So I think that, we got about 11, 12 cars sitting right in this big pack here. And if you're right where Bill Burrell is, for example, sitting here in P11, where exactly do you go? He's going low.
Well, you're going to have contact. Charles T. My goodness gracious.
I just picked one random car out of the line there, so perhaps I should stop doing that because that means that's going to be a little bit sketchy for everyone. But if you were where Bill Burrell was, you would just kind of want to do what you said. Just hang back and let everyone kind of wreck themselves ahead of you, and then you could find yourself passing perhaps 10 cars ahead of you that are all finding themselves up in the wall, and you can get a nice little run on the inside there.
You can. Clinworth did pass Christopher to get temporarily back on the tail end of the lead lap, and then, well, one more time he loses that. But again, Andrew, I don't quite get why he is racing that hard, given the lucky dog situation. The other situation that we're going to need to be aware of is fuel. So Nicholas Stockner, James Molinaw, Ryan, AJ Hobson, Sam Cosner, and Eric Peterson are getting down to the time where they need to make some pit stops. They've got 6 additional laps on their tanks as opposed to everybody else that's out on the speedway.
Well, to answer your Kyle Clemworth question, yeah, of course he's going to go up and race despite the lucky dog situation because everybody's going so slow around him. And he says, hey, I can get myself up to the front right now. You all can save fuel behind me so that when the caution comes out, I don't have to get a lucky dog. I can just rejoin the back of the lead pack. And that is a strategy to deploy if you really feel that you have the pace to get up there and stay up there. But Christopher is not letting him necessarily just keep that lead either. No. So if everybody's going slow around you, why not just go for the front and just say, hey, guys, I am a lap down. If I take the lead, just stay behind me.
Do you call your competitor on the radio for a little bit of co-opetition when that happens? And you're in that situation, Andrew, or do you expect that everybody around you will understand?
Yeah, it depends really. I would say you would call your competitor and say, hey, I'll just take the lead and you all can just stay behind me. But at the same time, someone like Christopher might say, hey, I want to keep this guy pinned a lap down because then I don't have to worry about him later in the race should a caution come out. And then I have to defend later. So you want to keep the lapped cars that are a lap down back there if you possibly can. But at what risk is that going to be if you're racing too hard and you do a little too much on the tools and you cook your right rear tire and you spin out? So I think it depends driver to driver exactly what strategy you want to do there.
It does indeed. Clinworth now has gotten in front of Stouffer, and Clindy will get, and we've got contact. James Molinaw, he's going to get into Hobson. Molinaw upside down. Hobson hard in the wall after contact with Chris Stouffer, and there is Kyle Clinworth's caution. Caution is out at Michigan, lap 84 of 120, and we were watching that unfold, Andrew. Contact between James Molinaw and Chris Stouffer started this, and poor AJ Hobson got caught up in it, as did Jim Herrick. Here we go down the back. Molina, and this is the danger, right? Molina is trying to squeeze down. He misjudges it, gets into Stouffer. Those two cars lock together. They shoot apart. Molina gets into Hobson, and poor Jim Herrick had nowhere to go. Hard in the wall for Jim. I think he might be able to limp it back around and get his fast repair. So Jim Herrick may be okay here, just at the tail end of the lead lap. Hobson has also got his Hobson has also gotten to pit lane and gotten his fast repair and maintained the lead lap. But that car for James Molina is toast.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately for Molyneux, that's something, and he's new to these cars as well. But that is a matter of, I just want to turn where the track is turning. But if the car turns a little bit late on your inside, that is your fault. That is not an ability for you to make that corner safely. You have to predict that the car on your inside is going to hang there a little bit longer. It's very, very difficult to do. I've done that many times. I specifically remember at this track with Henry Bennett one time, I turned down right into Henry Bennett's path, and he just wanted to turn a little bit later, and I wrecked my car the same exact way Molyneux did. So it's just something you have to learn. It's one of those little idiosyncrasies of these races where things can really just not go exactly how you want them to go, where drivers want to turn, where people want to approach the corner a little differently.
Now, back on the lead lap naturally, the beneficiary to all that is this man, Richie Hearn. Richie Hearn will get the lucky dog. He went 2 laps down after his slide through the pit lane. Now he's back 1 lap down, and he will be the only car 1 lap down, Andrew. And so new life perhaps for Richie Hearn, another caution, and he is back on the lead lap.
I'm just kind of wondering what it's going to take for Richie to get back in this race again.
Another caution would be
yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I asked that rhetorically in one sense. I think that it was unfortunate for him to come down the pit lane, but if a caution does fall in the right way, he could find himself back in the race again.
Yeah, he most certainly could. And you've still got 2 cars out here, Kurt Rose and Joseph Morales, that have not pitted. They will come down this time. That will give a free pass to Craig Forsyth. Forsyth is 14 laps in arrears, but he is out there and circulating. Bill Colley and Peter Reniger have retired from the event. Jim Herrick has a black flag that he will need to serve here. And so he's going to come down the pit lane as well. And there's Jim. And my guess is he might have been too fast on pit lane, but he's going to come in and effect further service. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in tonight. We are Mark Murphy and Andrew Wood here at P1 Broadcasting, and we hope you're enjoying the Area 51 IndyCar Series presented by 4D Racewear. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you too can get a little reminder every time we go live. And we're going to be doing this. We're going to be here pretty much every night of the week. Monday night, you have the IndyCar Open Series Top Split, followed by the Indy Next Series Road Series Top Split. Tuesday nights, it's a triple header. Starts at 7:15 with the Indy Oval Series Top Split, then the Indy Next Oval Series Top Split, followed immediately thereafter by Area 51, 7:15, 8:30, and 9:30 on those start times. Wednesday, we've got the Formula Super Series and the Horizon IndyCar Series. Thursday and Friday, beginning with the NASCAR season, we'll have the AMA stock cars. Saturdays, the iRacing IndyCar Series will come back, and then Sundays you've got the Votive IndyCar Series and the Dark Horse DW12 Series, as well as the Classic IndyCar Series.
Green flag, green flag.
So if you want to watch a race any day of the week, we got you covered. Chris Stouffer leads them back to the line. Stouffer has Nicholas Stockner in hot pursuit, Andrew.
Yeah, the slow guy off the line that time was James Molyneux. Up, he does touch the barrier exiting turn 2 as well, and now he's going to lose a bunch of spots. But Eric Peterson and Charles Teed made quick work of him, and now they're going to go to work to try and catch that pack ahead of them there. So a little bit more of a disjointed start this time around. I'm wondering about the fuel strategy here, Murph. I think that the 35 laps is probably a little bit too long, but I think if a caution were to come out perhaps in the next 5 to 10 laps, there might be someone who wants to roll the dice and do about a 36 lap stint with those 2 added cautions on there. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I would say if a caution comes out after lap 100, then everyone's going to come down for fresh rubber.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be a split decision in the next 10 laps. You might see guys come in and top off. You might see some stay out, but there's going to be a split decision. Anything after about 15, 20 laps on the tires, which would be right at lap 100, you're going to see all these cars come down and get, you're going to see everyone want to come and get tires because they do matter. We do want to note that the top 11, essentially, from Kurt Rose on up, have broken the draft. There was another concertina in the middle. Eric Peterson is trying to lead teammate Charles Teed, Gary Lovern, and others back toward the promised land. Now, that's what you want if you're trying to get a swap draft working. You want the 2 cars at the head of the line to be teammates.
Seems like everyone's getting into a little bit better formation here this time around. There's not the 3x3 that we saw up front before, so I don't think anyone's fuel saving at this point. I think everyone's going to be full tilt, and you see that with the single file formation that everyone's in right now. The leaders are going map 1, full burn. No one's really trying to sift their way through the pack, through the middle, through the bottom, and everything like that, like we saw before. So I think that everyone's just kind of reserving to this point, saying, hey, we're going to all do one more stop no matter what. No one needs to save the fuel, and we'll see where we stand. And hopefully we get a green flag pit stop here. That'd be really great to see.
Now, the question then becomes, Andrew, we're, 15 laps short, 10 laps short, something like that at full chat?
I think it's more like 5 to 10, but go ahead.
Okay, so even if it's 10 laps, you need 5 gallons of fuel. Do you change tires on that stop? 5 gallons of fuel would be about a 2-second stop in these cars, 3 seconds maybe. Tires is going to take 8 seconds. Do you take tires? Or are you going to do a splash and go here?
I would say a good amount of the drivers that don't really feel as confident on the worn tires coming out of the pits, they are probably going to take the tires, but we're definitely going to see a few people gamble, especially if we go green the rest of the way here. It's a little bit sketchy getting out of the pit road on that very, very narrow pit exit and the apron and everything, but we're definitely going to see some people try it, I would imagine.
Now, do you practice that? I know I do, but do you practice that in preparation for a race? Go out, wear your tires out, and then come in, put a couple of gallons in and try to negotiate your way off a pit road just to see what it's like?
I would highly doubt that anybody practices that, Murph. That's only you.
So I'm unique. You called me weird earlier. You called me weird earlier in the broadcaster Discord. I told you it's my most endearing quality, right? But I do practice it. It's a handy thing to have, just in case. You get your tires worn down. Come in and put 3 or 4 gallons in it and then try to get off a pit road because you never know when that's going to come in handy. It also lets you practice pit re-entry a couple of times on worn tires too. Go back out, get them heated back up, and come back in. You're looking at Bill Burrell has taken the lead from Nicholas Sockner, Charles Johnson, Matty Wagner 4th, and Brian Greenlee is 5th. Not a single one of those guys, I believe, has ever won in this series. And so we may have a first-time winner tonight. The nearest any kind of a veteran to the front of this thing is going to be Chris Stouffer, and he's running along in 8th, and it doesn't appear as though Stouffer is in any kind of a hurry.
Yeah, just to go back to comment on the worn tire thing, that's definitely one of those things that you could practice as much as you want, but when it comes to the actual situation, all the practice will do is hurt you in the long run if you wind up spinning out. So that's one reason why some drivers may not elect to do
Whoa!
something like that.
Whoa!
Yeah,
James
yeah, you're
Molina.
watching James Molina. Yes, I've been watching him the last few laps, and he's really trying to make his way forward on some of these drivers that perhaps are just wanting to stay on the high side, but he's getting through the corners at such a narrow angle that he's coming up the track on the exit of turn 4 and almost kind of scaring a few of the drivers that are along his path there. But it looks like if he can just avoid that dirty air, Molina is on the move.
Yeah, James Molina is on the move. He had contact with Richie Hearn, and we kind of saw it. Richie is trying to make his trying to get back on the lead lap, as is Molina. So those two are in a battle for the lucky dog, and they're trying to make their way to the front, and they darn near crashed each other out. Molina hip checked Hearn, and Hearn really kind of returned the favor there, which is very rare. Richie is usually a pretty easygoing guy, but you could tell there was some exception taken. Now for Richie, he's got a teammate there in Bill Burrell, so Bill Burrell is not going to fight Richie Hearn getting back on the lead lap, you would not think.
I'm actually watching Wayne Campbell as well. Wayne Campbell is starting to move his way forward little by little. He's been kind of absent for a lot of this race. Oh, we have contact on the front straightaway. 2 cars on the grass.
That is
One of them might be Richie Hearn.
Bill Burrell and Nicholas Stockner.
Oh, no, it wasn't Stockner. It was the car I was looking at. Yeah. Burrell's got a broken right front wheel. No caution, though, which is good to see. We can keep the racing going. But I think coming together.
Of all things there.
Greenland.
Well, of all things there, Andrew, they crashed into Victory Lane, which is well off the racing surface, and that's why there's no caution. Here's the contact. Stockner and Burrell, and there it is. Stockner comes off the bottom and makes the contact. They spin to the inside. Burrell hard into the inside wall. I don't know that Stockner hits anything. He just takes the ride through the grass. Burrell with the meatball, but Stockner is in deep trouble. That does mean that Richie Hearn and James Molina are both back on the lead lap, and the lead goes to Matt Wagner.
Oh, they almost touched the two of them, Richie Hearn and James Molina, going into turn 1, but yeah, like I was mentioning before, Wayne Campbell has quietly moved his way up into the top 5 right now, and he was sitting in that both of those second packs we were watching earlier in the race, and he was just kind of basically letting everyone ahead of him push his way up to the front again. And Campbell is making hay when the sun is shining right now and taking advantage of some drivers that were possibly trying to save there. So really, really nice run by Campbell so far.
Most certainly so. Crash, caution, Richie Hearn. James Molina, hard contact for both those cars. Caution is on the speedway. Richie Hearn and James Molina have come together. This is, if you're in if I hope poor James Molina is not in VR. Pure netcode, and James Molina gets a wild ride.
Look at poor Bill Burrell just trying to come out of the pit road, and I think he got himself damaged again.
I don't know. Watch this view though. This is going to be crazy. We're on the roll hoop of Bill Burrell as he comes off the pit lane. Let's get in his cockpit and watch this. Here they come. They're going to come from your right. And I don't think that they actually hit. I think that the accident was just enough behind or just enough in front of Bill Burrell. They didn't touch, but Molina definitely went over the front wing.
I would say that is definitely a short, a video short that we need to share amongst that of our group there. Just imagine a car. All you're trying to do is exit the pit road. You're trying to get yourself in gear and turn your pit limiter off, and all of a sudden cars are flying over the top of your head. That's definitely a frightening scene that I don't think I've ever experienced on iRacing before.
Yeah, it's It's not a lot of fun when you're flying through the air, and it's definitely not any fun when you're driving under somebody. That, oddly enough, the beneficiary here is going to be Bill Burrell. He went 2 laps down after him and Stockner came together. Bill Burrell is going to get one of those laps back, and so he's going to go back to 1 lap down. Meanwhile, everybody else has come to the pit lane, Andrew.
Yeah, I believe that we were talking after that restart about pitting, or if a caution came out about 5 to 10 laps after the restart, there may have been more of a question mark if some drivers stayed out or came in. But we did pass that threshold. We got about 16 laps on that green flag run. So everyone, of course, is coming in to get the fresh tires. But at the same time, I would have wondered if perhaps some cars from the back, Ryan Kelly is jackknifed in his pit for some bizarre reason. I just noticed. I think I'm trying to see what happened there, actually. But yeah, I think everybody's coming down pit road just to get their fresh tires and everything like that. I think Ryan Kelly missed his pit box. There was a lot of action going on around him, so he may have to come back in and start from the back. Murph.
Yeah, it may be. He is 1 lap down now, and so I think he's just going to get the 1 lap back. But still, I mean, anything can happen. Hearn's car is obviously hurt, so it could be that Bill Burrell, with another caution, right back in it, Andrew. And the way they've been going, let's be fair, there could very well be another caution. Kurt Rose is your gambler. Kurt Rose stays out and will assume the lead, and he's got Wayne Campbell right behind him.
Yeah, here comes Ryan Kelly back down pit lane. He definitely missed his pit box. I think he hit the brakes too hard when he realized he missed his box and spun himself out. So Ryan Kelly is coming down for his actual pit stop this time around with a fully clear pit entry and exit. So he's going to restart the back, and I mean, he moves through these fields quite fast. So wherever he restarts, don't count him out of this race yet either.
No, and I'm looking at several cars here that have a ton of experience. There's Matt Wagner in third. AJ Hobson's been around these wars for a long time, as has Brian Greenlee. Kyle Clinworth is in seventh. I would never bet against him in one of these races. He won earlier tonight in the top split race at Fontana. Charles Teed is eighth. Jeff Heisong ninth, and Chris Stouffer 10th. Really, anyone in that top 10, when you think about Wayne Campbell and Charles Johnson, both of whom have been very fast here, have a chance to pull this off. The one car that's a question mark is the current leader, which is Kurt Rose.
Okay, we're going to restart with 15 to go, Gary. Do we go green the rest of the way? I called you Gary again. I meant Murph. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm charging you $1 every time you do it, Andrew.
That's fine. And for the swear jar.
What is it? My wife said she was going to charge me. She was going to charge me every time I drop the F-bomb. After 3 days, we have enough to afford a new Ford Explorer. Anyway, race is going back to green. Kurt Rose is your leader. He's been out 20 laps. It would be an awfully tall order for him to make it the next 14.
But Murph, are we going green the rest of the way? Next 14 laps.
Yes.
I'm with you. I actually think that everyone's kind of got we had a nice little run going there where people were coming and going and being very, very watchful of one another. It will get a little bit intense with about 5 to 7 laps to go, especially as we saw that 3-4 wides stuff that was developing along the way. And I think that it will get a little intense for that race win, but we have so many drivers that have come forward in this race. They don't want to lose it, and we have had so many drivers that have had misfortunes and fallen back. So I think that we are going to go green the rest of the way. Let's hope for a really, really nice photo finish here.
Power move from Kyle Clinworth. He restarts 7th. 2 laps later, he's in the lead. I've also got to be impressed by Kurt Rose. He thinks he's got the fuel to fight here at the front, despite the fact that he would need to make it 34 laps in order to finish on his current tank full. But there's Kurt Rose, and he is holding up at the front. Maybe he thinks he's gambling. There's going to be another yellow, and that's going to save him. Meanwhile, we're 3 wide for the lead. That's Wags on top, Hobson in the middle, Clinworth on the bottom, and to the front they go. And here's the thing. We are experienced with pack racing at tracks like Fontana and Michigan. What we are not experienced with, and many of these drivers won't be, Andrew, is the hybrid system in a pack race at Fontana or Michigan.
I don't even want to think about that, Murph.
So it does add a new twist where you can shoot to the lead anytime you like, essentially, if you're on row 2. The problem is you burn your battery up. There's no way to recharge it, and you essentially become a sitting duck for somebody who does have the ability to deploy. It's an interesting situation for sure.
Well, one thing I know for sure, I've been in this situation in Michigan multiple times before. You do not want to be stuck high. You want to have the opportunity to manipulate yourself middle of the pack, slot in on the low side, hopefully get enough of a draft where there's a room for a car to fit in there. But right now I count 3, 5, 8, 11, 13 cars that are all going for the lead right now. Anyone who's stuck up on the high side is like, please just give me a spot to come back down again. And they're getting closer and closer, Murph. It's getting a little bit dicey for me. I hope we can keep this going for another 9 laps, but if we go 5 more laps of green, it's going to end under caution. There's no green-white flags green-white checkers in this league, so everyone right now is in a mad dash to make sure that by lap 117, they're up at the front. We went from 13 cars when I started talking to about 18 cars now that are all going for the lead, and there are cars getting tight, cars getting a little squirrely, and cars just hoping to find one lane to move, and it's getting so tight right now, and it's exciting to watch, but also stressful at the same time.
It most certainly is, and you got to wonder, and that's something we don't know, of course, is the status of the battery charge in that number 37 as it hugs the bottom for Clinworth. Same with A.J. Hobson, because what you really want is to be able to be on the front line and deploy coming toward the checkered flag on the last lap. Jeff Heisong to the bottom, and I believe Heisong has lost his front wing. He does save it. He keeps everything going in the right direction. Jeff Heisong, though, with the meatball, and he is going to be forced to pit for repair. We're coming down to the nitty-gritty. We've got just, we're going to have 6 laps to go here, Andrew?
Will be 6 laps to go. Murph coming by start finish here. There's a couple cars I'm watching, a couple cars that are making moves that I'm very impressed by, and I'm not going to say their names for the sake of jinxing them later on down the line, but I will working out.
Whoa, trouble!
Oh, there it is.
Charles Teed, hard into the wall. We stay green. Now it's caution. Now it's caution. Sam Cosner involved, as is Jeff Heisong, Brian Greenlee. I had gone to the blimp, and I was about to say, look at this mess. And then Charles Teed decided to do his best Mark Murphy impression. I think Teed cleared the wall here. He gets into the back of Brian Greenlee, and up he goes. The catch fence holds him, and then he blinks out. But Charles Teed, a nasty accident there. Caution on the speedway, and that's going to give us, I believe, Andrew, a 2-lap shootout toward the end to decide this thing.
I'm going to point out that Sam Cosner had a collateral incident on the back straightaway, Murph. He was not involved in that wreck. He had contact right before the cars went under yellow. I don't see who hit him. I think it might have been, was it Kurt Rose, I believe? Maybe that touched him and put him into the wall. But yeah, Cosner was not involved in that first incident. There was a whole separate one that happened on the back straightaway.
Yeah, he was past it. We're gonna see if we can't get it queued up. There he is with Kurt Rose. He's got Eric Peterson behind him, and Nicholas Stockner gets into Kurt Rose. That pushes Rose up into the car of Sam Cosner. Cosner hard on the wall, and behind them, Bill Burrell had separate contact, and I believe Bill Burrell just kind of did it on his own here. He's going to come off a turn two, and I don't know. There he is. She gets the wiggles, and hard in the wall goes Bill Burrell. So all kinds of contact here late in the Area 51 round at Michigan. This series is presented by 40 Racewear. I do want to thank 40 Racewear for all of their support. Shoes, gloves, hats for the sim racer. 40racewear.com. They'll get you fixed up. And keep an eye out for Jim Herrick and his team on the racetrack. So we'll reset it for you. What are we going to do? We're gonna get two lap shootout, Andrew.
That's what I believe, Merv. I think we're going to go green, white, and checkered. So I said that it didn't exist, but here we are.
A natural green-white checker, as it were. Clindy is your leader. He's going to mess with the pace car. We do that to get the goat of our good friend and P1 founder Gary Godso. He hates it when we hide in the pace car. So I started that many years ago, and Clindy does it now. Go up there and hide in the pace car. Anyway, because the pace car in iRacing is hollow for those of our viewers who don't know that. Clindy is your leader. What's the strategy for Clindy? What are you going to do if you're Hobson, Wagner, Mason Mitchum, our pole sitter, has worked his way back up, and Chris Stouffer in fifth? What are you thinking if you're Clindy, and what are you thinking for the cars behind?
Don't be on the top lane. Simple as that. Don't be on the top lane. Stay safe. Get a run. That's all you could do. There's literally nothing else that you should be thinking about in this race. Is just put yourself in the best spot to win and pass cars. If you're on the top side, you're probably not going to pass anyone, and you may be collected by cars on the low side if they skid up towards the wall. So if it were me, I'm not staying up against the wall right now. I'm trying my best to stay as low as possible, avoid all incidents, and just finish safely, because finishing fifth means and avoiding incidents is not finishing 25th and getting wrecked before the checker flag.
Now
So anyone who's thinking championship is doing that.
Now that's very true. Do you? And this is my question for you. Do you prefer lane 1 all the way against the yellow line, or do you prefer lane 2 here, Andrew?
I prefer lane 2 personally, but it all kind of depends on what's happening around me. The lane 2 starts to get sandwiched and squeezed out by the top lane. The people that are not wanting to be up there and coming down on you, and also lane 1 is probably a little bit tighter, especially if you're second or third row in line and the dirty air starts to come in. So I like to be there and just keep my eyes low to make sure I can fit myself in somewhere, because I don't want to get tight and come up into someone. But I definitely don't want to be on the outside. And that's happened to me at Michigan countless times, where I came to the white flag in third and I finish in ninth because I'm stuck up there.
I learned that lesson in the Elite Racing League US 500 several years ago. I came around, had the white flag, and decided I was going to hug the yellow line. Got beat lane 2, Adriano Pinheiro. Learned my lesson. Don't be all the way against the bottom if you can help it. You get pinched off and lose all your momentum down there. Clindy is going to have the lead. Hobson second, Wagner third, Mitchum, Stouffer, Campbell, Johnson, Stockner, Rose, and Kelly round out your top 10. Barney's got the green flag, and we are going to go one more time here at Michigan.
Green.
Chris Stouffer is the Michigan Whisperer, so my money's on him to find some magic here coming to the white flag. Stouffer has won many a Michigan race from where he's standing right now. He needs to catch the draft as we speak right now, but if anyone's going to come from behind on this white flag, it'll be Stouffer.
Now, he's pretty far back here, but he's going to get a huge run. Clindy has made it to the bottom. Hobson in lane 2. Mason Mitchum might be in the catbird seat, except he's going to mount, and yellow is out. A.J. Hobson is going to be your winner. Wayne Campbell has tagged the turn 3 wall hard, and that's going to be your race, Andrew.
Yeah, unfortunate. That's another incident with Charles Johnson there, and yeah, it's a shame we couldn't come to the end of the race here under green flag conditions. I would love to see how these drivers get themselves placed coming to the last lap, but it happens sometimes.
It does indeed. There's your podium. It's going to come across A.J. Hobson, your winner, Clindy, and then Mason Mitchum. Matt Wagner is going to wind up fourth. Is going to wind up fourth. Chris Stouffer going to be credited with fifth. That would have been interesting had that stayed green, because old Stouffer might have been able to build a massive run coming off of turn 4 to get the flag, and it might have been unstoppable, Andrew.
Yeah, we definitely come out of this race with a lot of discussions that need to be had and lessons learned from some drivers. But I think these big super speedways can be great ones, but sometimes they could be ruined by a little bit of a lottery, and that does kind of dissuade some drivers from really trying so hard to really get up front. But we've seen great races in this league multiple times on these big ovals, so I think this is just kind of a one-off, and I think everyone's going to leave here and learn some lessons and come back for the next big oval and put on a really good show.
Well said, Mr. Wood. Your winner tonight, A.J. Hobson, the number 904. Kyle Clinworth is second. Mason Mitchum is going to round out your podium. In the fourth spot, it's Matty Wagner. Chris Stouffer brings it home fifth. In the sixth spot, it's Charles Johnson, Nicholas Stockner seventh. Kurt Rose is going to finish eighth. He made it, Andrew, with the help of a couple of cautions at the end. Ryan Kelly is ninth, and Eric Peterson is going to finish in 10th. In 11th, it's Kyle Brooks. Larry Yingling is 12th. Gary Lovern 13th. Joseph Morales 14th, and Sam Cosner is going to finish 15th. Shane Coker 16th. Jeff Heisong, Brian Greenlee, Richie Hearn, and Wayne Campbell will round out your top 20. 21st is Charles Teed, Bill Burrell 22nd, Craig 23rd, then James Molyneux, Jim Herrick, Bill Colley, and Peter Reniger round out your field. It's interesting to note, Andrew, Craig Forsyth made up 4 laps over the course of coming back out on the track. Just not enough to gain any positions, but he most assuredly made up some time.
Sometimes those lucky dog situations put you in a spot where you're the only one that's going to get the laps back, so that doesn't surprise me too much. But Forsyth always manages to find a little bit of luck come on his side. But yeah, I mean, 14 laps down, coming back into the server again you're never going to come back from that. So at that point, you're just hoping that some more drivers finish behind you in terms of points, but I imagine this will be a drop round for him.
You most certainly do. Let's check and see what we've got in terms of available drivers interview. We're waiting on Mason Mitchum. See if he pops in. Waiting on Mitchum and Clinworth. Usually they are in their own Discord, so we're going to get them queued up. Mason Mitchum, you've got Murph, and you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. Can you hear us, my man?
I can hear you.
You can hear us. So you had an eventful day. What can you tell us what happened at the on the start? You sat on the pole, and then car internet disconnect. What happened to make you start from the pit lane?
Yeah, it was weird. So I was just about to grid up and do my thing, and then it just said I had an update. And so it basically restarted my computer, and I was like, okay, that's weird. So that's what happened there. And then I came back, and thankfully the race hadn't started yet, but yeah, that was unfortunate.
There you go.
Yeah, so when you started from the pit lane and I saw Clemworth had dropped back there, was that by design, or did he decide to start the race on the pits just in case there was some incident to be collected in? Otherwise, I guess that was a good strategy because obviously everyone's going to say fuel up front. So just the swap draft situation you guys put yourself in was going to bring you back up front anyway. But I'm curious if that was a calculated thing just based on your internet issue there.
Yeah, it's definitely calculated on his part. I was like, hey, can you guys stall so I can get back in the race? And he just waited till the very last second and started from the pits. So he actually hamstrung his race to start with. But I mean, very thankful that it happened in a way. But there was also a lot of reasons why it didn't really particularly matter in the end. The cautions and things like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, it all wound up working out at the end. It took a lot of work, but you got yourself to the podium. Congratulations on your run, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yep. So like always, I just want to, thank Votive, right? The Votive Racing League. So that's where if you're interested in, looking at a free league and seeing how it's ran, yeah, check out Votive. Of course, we're here in Area 51. Greg runs a good league. It was a little hectic today, but you know what? He runs a good league. It's been a lot of fun races this year, so it's just what happens sometimes. So I'll be back next time, see what I can do there. I just want to thank you guys at P1 doing your thing. Well, is this P1? I don't remember, honestly. Sorry about that if I got it wrong. But yeah, we're here doing our thing, and we at the next race.
Absolutely, Mace. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and we will see you at the next one.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. That is Mason Mitchum. And for second place, we're going to grab Kyle Clinworth. Clindy, you've got Murph, and you've got Andrew, the famous Andrew Wood, in the P1 broadcasting booth. You hear us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, Murph. Hey, Murph. Hey, Wood. How's it going?
Well, I tell you what, you did better than I did tonight. Your wheel didn't disconnect. You win the opener and you finish second in the closer. What was your strategy there at the end? Andrew and I kind of debated lane one, lane two, hybrid, no hybrid. What was your strategy to keep the lead coming to the flag?
I just wanted to give the whole field a shot, right? So I went early because, if you go late, you stack the field up and cause cautions. And I just kind of wanted to give the field the opportunity to have a green flag finish because I felt pretty confident that if I wrapped the white and yellow line all the way around the track, it was going to be really hard for AJ or Mason or Wags to beat me because I had a heck of a time passing Stouffer earlier when he was glued to the bottom, and it had only gotten cooler. So I'd figured out the tools in the line to just stick the bottom and regen the hybrid every lap. And I chose to regen the hybrid coming to the white flag when the yellow came out, and AJ had just pipped me. So, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I set myself up to win a green flag finish on the white flag lap, not to win when a yellow comes out in turn 3 with 2 to go. So, I'll make that decision 99 times out of 100, unless, if I was in AJ spot, I'm going to do everything I can to be in the lead whenever possible, just to play the caution lottery. Didn't shake out my way, but that's fine. Like Gael said in the race, I'm sure I will never ever. So
Yeah, it's
So you kind of answered my question just by explaining there, but I'll ask you another one. So this is such a caution heavy race here, so there was never really a chance to save fuel. But was there any point, I think it was the lap 86 pit stop that everyone went in, that was about a 34 lap stint to the end there. Was there any chance to do 34 laps here? Should it all have stayed green the rest of the way, and would you have been able to save all the fuel to do that?
yeah, me and the Votive Racing guys, Mitch, Cosner, and Coker were all hitting the number every time and banking a little. I think we had one extra lap in the tank when the yellow came out, and we were going to stretch that to 2 extra laps and then map down to map 3 and start whittling our way through the field and just kind of see how the number looked in map 3 and whether or not we would feel comfortable going to map 1 with maybe 5 to go. It was a really hard save to start with. We were hitting like 540s, 550s, like in MPG. When you're flat out in the leader, you're hitting a 388. So we were getting almost 1.6 miles gallon better than the leaders if they were in map 1. But there were some leaders that were in map 1 and some leaders that weren't. And we were hitting those huge numbers when the leaders were maybe in map 3 or map 5. And then when the leaders were in map 1, it was a little worse, but still good enough to get to the finish.
Well, you did get that good finish. You're going to emerge from this as the points leader, and that's where they pay the money is at the end, right? So you want to be in the hunt for that championship, Clindy. With that said, you know the drill. You've been here enough. Friends, family, sponsor, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks to my mom and dad who watch every time. My cousin Craig, who runs Sugarman Farms in Mononk, Illinois. Shane Coker, of course, who puts on the Voted Racing League. We'll be back in a couple of Sundays at Michigan. So we'll be right back here Sunday night at 8 p.m. on February 20th. Or maybe it's the 22nd, whatever the Sunday is of that week. It might be the 20. Yeah, I think it's the 22nd, right? Because Friday is the 20th. Yeah, it is Sunday the 22nd. I looked at the calendar. That said, I forgot one sponsor, my previous shout out. So I have a drink supplement sponsor called Advance.gg. If you go there and you check out with promo code CLENDYSENDY with a capital K and a capital S, you get 10% off your order. And a little bit of that comes back to me. If you do that, I'd be very grateful. And of course, thanks to all my road racing teammates, even though I'm the only one in here. So I run with the Votive guys. So they did a great job. They ran a great race. So happy to share the podium with Mason. And for the most part, we survived. So that was the objective.
Survive, you did. You get the second place. Thanks for stopping in, Clindy. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Thanks, Murph. Thanks, Andrew. You guys have a good.
Absolutely, that is Kyle Clinworth, and we're gonna get AJ Hobson in here eventually. And that's going to be Andrew. He is going to be my guess. One happy fellow when we get him in here. AJ Hobson, you've got Murph, and you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, boys?
I'll tell you what, it's good to see you. It's good to see you finally crack one of these, AJ.
I know.
You and I've raced together for a long time. I know you've raced against Andrew too. It's good to see you up here. Talk to us. We asked Clindy, and I'll ask you the same thing. What was your plan at the end? Was the plan just to get ahead in any way possible, or?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I failed my plan because Wagner got under me a little bit there, and I thought it was all over with, but I was able to kind of pull around him and get another run. I just wanted to get by as soon as possible because another yellow ended the race, and that's what ended up happening. So I hate to see it end under yellow, but I'll take a win at this point. So.
Yeah, AJ. So we were just talking to Clendy about setting up for the final lap and everything. And obviously, you're the leader. So was it just a matter of shortest distance around the track, keeping middle line down to the bottom, and just holding it down there and hoping that you have enough of a run for any sort of hybrid deployment or anything like that?
Yeah.
Or is there any other plan of attack you could do from the lead to make sure you hold it?
Now I was going to try to get alongside him and just pin him down. I was able to do that on that long run we had before the last yellow. So I was just going to save some boost up and, let it eat out of 4, and hopefully I come across ahead. And that was pretty much all my plan was, right around at the top, avoid all the problems throughout the early part of the race. And I mean, you could run right through the field. I think I started 22nd at one point on a restart after I got caught up in that crash there in 3. And I was able to go right up through the field. I mean, people were fuel saving a little bit, but everyone was running up top. I got up to the front, and I just wanted to stay there at that point, and it was just pure chaos. So just avoiding all the incidents,
Yeah, explain to everyone watching how difficult it is to come to the white flag in the lead and regen hybrid, especially trying to keep everyone behind you. What's the strategy necessarily to make sure that you have that on the last lap to use should you need defense?
Yeah, I thought the best spot of the track to regen was kind of going into the corner when you needed to like slow it down a little bit anyways, because if you did it anywhere else on the track, you were gonna lose some ground, and on the last lap you don't want that to happen. So I was gonna regen going into 1 there, and hopefully hang in the draft if I wasn't able to keep them underneath me and make that run. But it just ended up we got a yellow and, didn't have to go that last lap.
Well, I'll tell you what, it all works out for you in the end, AJ. You get the dub, you get the trophy,
Oh, yeah.
and with that comes the microphone. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. You got a good looking hot rod. Talk about it, my man.
Yeah, no, we got BGT on the side, little clothing brand my buddy runs, and then I'm self-branded on the side there, Hobbs Racing. Haven't posted in a minute, but that's self-branded. I love the yellow submarine, and that's kind of what we went off there, and got some Dark Horse logos on there. Shout out Dark Horse team. You know, we hop in here every week and try to get one of us up here, and this week we got me. So fun running with those guys, and hopefully we pop back up here with you guys more.
Absolutely, AJ. Well, it's good to see you in Victory Circle. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it, boys.
Absolutely. That is AJ Hobson. And I told Jay Andrew he would be a happy fellow in Victory Lane. It's been a long time coming for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, you and I both raced with AJ for quite some time now, and just misfortune always manages to befall him somewhere. He's come very close to Indy quite a few times. That's probably the most competitive track I've seen him consistently at in Area 51 for all these years, and it's good to see that another big oval has managed to bring him to the top step of the podium. So, really nice job there.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that's always I've always known him to be pretty fast, more or less anywhere he went. But you're right, it's he's had more than his fair share of bad luck, and well, tonight he didn't have the bad luck, and he wound up in Victory Lane. And good for AJ Hobson. Good for the entire league. It was a pretty good, entertaining race tonight. Had some different strategy calls. Gotta love the call and give the shout out, Andrew. Gotta love the call and give the shout out to Kurt Rose. He was the one. He stayed out and made the long run work, and he brings it home 8th. So great job from Kurt Rose to do that. For the next broadcast, we are off. Next week, the next Area 51 race will be February 17th, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel from Kentucky, and then we'll have Nashville on February 14th. So no Area 51 next week. Kentucky February 17th, Nashville February 24th. Do want to thank everybody involved, the admin team at Area 51, 40 Racewear, Jim Herrick for his awesome partnership. The track cam sponsored by Whiplash Sim Cams. Want to thank my broadcast partner Andrew Wood, and I definitely want to thank the fans in the stands. We had another big audience tonight, Andrew, and it's so awesome to see leagues like Area 51 develop such a great following. But we really want to thank the people that make it actually possible: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Andrew, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. So long from Michigan. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Kentucky.
Strap in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah. That's winning. Grit in my voice, baseline under my breath. Glove print stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says, get it. From the couch to the checkered, I'm the storm when I wear it. 4D in my veins. Different. It's different. 40 racewear. Let them feel you drive.